Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is the Time Brigade, and I'm Brigadier Sushilbhasin here with you on goals management. We have been in the last about 10 days talking about goals for 2021, as I have been repeating that 2021 is quite a different year as compared to any other years we have seen before. So the old templates which you have been using for time for goal setting may not be really applicable. They require modification. They require a little bit of tweaking for this year, which comes with a lot of challenges. Now in 2020, we learned a lot from this year, which came to us as a great teacher. There were a lot of things that happened in 2020 where challenges came up to us with a big surprise, and they were worldwide. There were a lot of new things that happened in 2020. But in the process, 2020 taught us to be resilient, to be tough, to be understanding, to be innovative, and all those things. And therefore, we are better prepared for 2021. We are now almost at the end of the first month of 2021. That is how time flies. And we are here for 11 more months this year to see what are the goals we are going to achieve this year. Now, it's not necessary that you set your goals on the 1st of January or take any calendar date. The best time to start setting your goals is now. Now, not even today, it's now. Yet, we do take advantage of a calendar or of dates like this, and that is why every year we do some goal setting on the 1st of January. So I would say that let's carry on with our assumption that we are making or setting our goals for 2021. So let's look at the journey ahead of us, which is from now to 31st December 2021. Okay, so I have been covering this in every video for the last about 10 days. Now let's get going to a way forward. I studied a little bit about how our senior leaders in COVID, who have taken advantage of the crisis and turned them into opportunities, how they have set their goals, business goals, and led their global companies into success. How did they do it? They are bosses and they made boss goals. And that is what I'm going to be talking about today. So please stay tuned in to listen to boss goals, BOSS. Now, what are these boss goals? What do bosses do? Firstly, they make bold goals. Bold goals. What are the bold goals? That they don't take limitations of their thought factory. I call this a thought factory. This is the 6 inches above your shoulders that decides what the rest of your body does. So it's very important that you look at this and say, these thoughts are mine. And while anyone can control anything else in my life, but nobody can control my thoughts, I have the liberty to think the way I want to. And therefore, that is one tool of yours. That is one powerful uh, organ in your body that makes sure that you decide what you want to do in life. Right? So let's look at this thought factory and say, what does it do for us? And I'm going to take you through this phenomena, which I call the boss goals. Right? So bosses, by now you must have guessed, is an acronym, and we have just covering the first part of that acronym, B, and B is bold goals, right? Okay. Now, I must tell you here that a well-formulated strategy, which again emanates from your thought factory, allows you to create, monitor, and measure and recognize your actions. So, re-evaluate your strategy frequently to move in the right direction. And I've already spoken about this right direction in my advanced workshop, which I do on Saturdays, and the next one happens on 6th of February. you will be able to go into details, but today I will only be covering some basic broad parameters, right? So you need to keep re-evaluating, and that is one thing which I find most people don't do, and that is why they come out with a belief system to say, oh, goals don't work. No, goals very much work if you work on them, right? Okay. So now a few things about how do we make our bold goals. So firstly, it is your dare to think. Do you dare to dream? Do you dare to think? Do you uh, do you open up your mind to possibilities? And the moment you come to something like, oh, that's going to be impossible, that's a good goal. That's a good goal. If people are laughing at your goals, that's a good goal. Okay. Don't take a goal which is so simple. I mean, if I can lift 20 kgs of weight and if my goal is to lift 22, bullshit, that is no goal. That will happen. People talk of goals which are growth oriented. And I tell them, you will grow anyway. If you don't do anything, if you're 20 today, you do nothing, next year you will be 21. If you don't cut your hair, if today they are 2 inches, tomorrow they'll be 2.5 inches, 3 inches, they will grow. Your nails will grow, your age will grow, your wrinkles will grow. That is not the point. Point is development, point is progress, point is a conscious way of moving ahead, right? So, when we are talking about goals, we want to have bold goals. Let me give you an example. When when Anil and Mukesh Ambani went to their father and said that we want to get into the telecom industry, he asked a question. He said, how much will a call cost? And they said 40 rupees outgoing and 20 rupees incoming. And he said, no, I will like you to go into telecom industry when you can give your users a call at the cost of a postcard. You think it was possible? You think somebody would agree that that is possible? To give a mobile call on a phone at the cost of a postcard, which used to be 5 paise? Impossible. And history now shows what happened. Today, who could believe at that time, who would consider this to be a realistic and achievable goal? Did you imagine that there would be a day when the beggar on the pavement has got a mobile, the vendor has got a mobile, your driver, your maid servant, your anyone has a mobile, right? And did you imagine that you could do a call on video across the world for free? And that's what's happening. Whether you do it on Facebook or WhatsApp, you are getting a free video call. It was considered impossible. Those are the goals I am talking about when you say bold goals. Now let's come to the next one, and that is ostentatious. What are ostentatious goals? Again, it's an extension of being bold, that you think of bhag, big, hairy, audacious goals. Something where you put no possible limitations to your thinking. So, what I believe in, and it said that whatever you can perceive, whatever the human mind can perceive, and then you can further believe, you can achieve. Okay, so right now people normally say two things: believe and perceive. Believe and achieve. I say believe, perceive, and achieve. All three. So if you do that, there's nothing that can stop you. If it comes from your heart that I can do it, I've done it in my life when I wanted to leave the army and I wanted to create a business around uh, educating children in outdoors. And people said, why are you doing it? You're not an expert in it. You've never done a business. I just broke all those barriers, said, I will do it. Roger Bannister did it. Arunima Sinha climbed the Mount Everest with a rod in one leg and an imputed second leg. It is possible when you think of impossible as I am possible. The third thing is that you make strategic goals. And strategic goals means that you look farsighted into the horizon and say, What will I achieve from those goals? What will my organization achieve? And then your strategic goals are a little far distant goals from where you bring about those values which you have in mind, and your path may change, your processes may change, your route may change, but the goal remains there. Okay, so just to give you an example, if I was doing train the trainer program, I was doing it with the firm belief that I can train trainers. Okay, and I used to do all my workshops in hotels, banquet halls, auditoriums, and all that. What happened when COVID came? Training, speaking gigs, everything came to a halt. Did I sit and say, okay, I'll start again when the market opens up? No. I said my aim is not to conduct a workshop. My aim is to transform people. And can I transform people online? I knew something about Zoom, I knew that, but I went, did a course, equipped myself for more online expertise, became a virtual presenter, learned a lot more about different apps and technology at the age of 70, and I came around with a program with my partner, Jagesh Jain, called TTOT, Train the Online Trainer, and it's been a very successful program. We not only impacted 80 people in our advanced program and about 1,200 people in our free program. We impacted that number of people during COVID and made some money as well. At a time when people were, like crumbling financially, we were not surviving, we were thriving. That is what happens when you have a strategic goal. Your goal remains the same. You look at different routes of how to go there. Ravi, another friend of mine, was doing programs in the Himalayas. And when he found that now you can't go to Himalayas, you can't travel, all that is gone, he thought his business had come to an end. Till he suddenly realized, like I did, that my aim is not to go to Himalayas. That's not the goal. The goal was to transform children. And can I do that online? And he did that. So let's all look at 2021 with more opportunities than what 2020 was giving us. And ladies and gentlemen, if you know, all worlds or historically the best of innovations have happened in crisis. Whether it was the World War, whether it was the recession of 2008, whether it was 26/11 or 9/11, every crisis has led to better innovations. And after every crisis, we have come out better than when we went into it. So let's all be prepared to bounce forward there and reach there so that we can achieve great results. So the last S, so we said B for bold, O for ostentatious, S for strategic, and S for sensitive. Now, what am I talking about? Sensitive. Sensitive is that I want to pay back to this world. I don't want to make goals which are for me all the time. My goals have a element of saying, what will it do to the world? What am I contributing to the society? What am I doing to contribute to others? Let's look at that. And if we make our goals, which particularly this year will be more focused onto the contribution I make to anyone other than me, which means my family, my neighborhood, my society, my community, my country, and globally. Let's do that. Okay, so these are the boss goals. And just to sum up, I'll say if I could give you some tips on how to practice this self compassion and become a boss and have that confidence in you, have that bold attitude, uh, have that belief system that works for you, then you have to practice self compassion. And how do you do that? First is be kind to yourself. Don't be harsh to yourself all the time. You stand in front of the mirror and say, oh, I can't even do that. Oh, he did that. And comparison with others, that's the worst. You don't have to compare with others. Follow Kaizen, 2%, 3% improvement over what I did yesterday. Let me compete with myself, not with others. Others, it's good to know what they are doing, it's good to have it in your mind, but don't get obsessed that he did this, so I must do that. Or he did this, I must do better than that. I won't strictly say you never do that. You keep in mind because you make your goals according to the world standards. If I want to make a goal that I want to be the fastest man on earth, I need to know what is the second fastest man doing. It's okay. But I'm saying there's a limit to it. I need you to think about the balance I'm talking about. If you got me right, accept your mistakes. I have a quote which says, "What's wrong about being wrong?" Who said to you when you came onto this planet that you have to be right all the time? And if we are human beings and human beings err, and you accept it, and there is a lot of dignity, there's a lot of respect when you make a statement, particularly to your subordinates, to your children, to say, "I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I goofed it up." And it's very powerful. I've done it all my life and found it very, very powerful. The thing is, next thing is don't fear failures. In my first book, Design Your Life, there's a chapter called Failure, the Tool for Learning. If Edison had not failed 1,000 times, we wouldn't have got a bulb. Every time you fail, you learn from it. Okay? And I think that's another thing. Don't fear failure. Attempt. And 2020 was a year of experimentation. All that used to happen earlier, whatever you say, time tested, it has happened before, may not happen again. So let's work on that. The next one is, while you should be aware of your weaknesses, strengthen your strengths. That is very, very important. Identify your strengths and work on your strengths. Firstly, it gives you better josh, it gives you that courage, that encouragement. It brings in more positivity. And when you concentrate on your weaknesses and you want to eradicate your weaknesses, Azim Premji says don't even bother much about them, just be aware of them. That's it. But don't worry about eradicating weaknesses. It is very, 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 very tough. So, whatever effort and time you're going to invest in overcoming weaknesses, divert that to strengthen your strengths and you'll be doing great. Okay. And the last thing, which I'm very fond of, and I used to do it in a dynamic challenge course, the dynamic obstacle course, which a lot of people call in the adventure world. I renamed it to dynamic challenge course because I said obstacles are negative, challenges are positive, right? So in this dynamic challenge course, I used to ask people, "What do you see in front of you?" And people said obstacles, which are wooden structures and you were not allowed to touch the ground. So you had to go over these so called hurdles and obstacles to reach your other end. And then I asked people, were they obstacles or were they enablers? They were the ones who actually made you go forward. So obstacles can be taken as enablers. So that's the last one, last tip. Guys, don't be worried about failures. Take your obstacles as your enablers and you are going to be in the next step. Okay. So thank you very much. See you tomorrow at 5 p.m. for the next video on goal setting in 2021, and not goal setting but goal management, because goal management encompasses goal setting, understanding the processes and reaching where you want to reach. So it is a goal achievement as well. So see you tomorrow 5 p.m. and do remember to register for the goal setting workshop or a masterclass. The name is Set It, Get It, and the link is in the description below. Register for the next program coming up on 1st of February, 4:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. 3 hours masterclass on setting and achieving your goals for 2021. Bye bye and see you. All the best. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy.